Ink Ribbon.
Yes, you read that title correctly. Resident Evil 4 has been greenlit for a remake.
Shit.
And before you get too excited, just know that it's not scheduled for any sort of release until around 2022, so it's not coming anytime soon, which I would probably argue is a good thing. But does Resident Evil 4 really need a remake? We'll get to that in a bit, but first let's talk about the development details that we know so far. So Shinji Mikami, the original creator of Resident Evil and the lead for Resident Evil 4, the original Resident Evil 4, will not be working on the game. However, he has been brought on as sort of like a consultant. The team behind the Resident Evil 4 remake is M2, which is a Capcom-backed company pretty much entirely consisting of ex-Capcom employees. And these are the guys who made Resident Evil 3 Remake. And it's being led by Tatsuya Minami, who was a key producer in a number of titles such as Haunting Ground, Bayonetta, Ace Attorney, and several Resident Evil games. Now, the fan reaction seems to be all over the place. There's a lot of people who think it's cool, but there's also a lot of people who think that there's other titles in the series that are more deserving of a remake, specifically Code Veronica. I don't know why, but a lot of Resident Evil fans have either never played Code Veronica or have no interest in playing it, and I don't really know why. It's like almost kind of become like a black sheep of Resident Evil. Play it. It's really good. It's classic Resident Evil. Well, oh, never mind. That's a video for a different time. But that might actually be the main reason Code Veronica is not being remade. Let's be real, okay? Capcom is a business, and Resident Evil 4 is one of their biggest cash cows. It's probably their biggest moneymaker since Street Fighter 2, and both of those games were ported to every possible system you could ever imagine. I'm sure there's probably a version of Street Fighter 2 that can be played on a calculator, you know? And listen, you know if you're a Resident Evil fan, you're gonna buy the Resident Evil 4 remake. I'm gonna buy it. That's the way that we work. It's a real problem. When you love a series this much, you're just gonna blindly buy it and then be like, oops. But I don't think it's going to be bad. I don't know if it's going to be better than the original, because that's a lot of pressure for a developer, because it's one of the greatest games like of all time, you know? People played that game to death, and oof, those are big shoes to fill, but we'll see what they do. Now, going back to other games in the series possibly being remade, Capcom did release that survey asking people, and maybe they're not making Code Veronica now, but if Resident Evil 4 Remake does well, there's a good chance they're going to remake other games. You know, we could have a Code Veronica remake, we could have an Outbreak remake, we could have Resident Evil Gaiden remake, and Resident Evil Survivor. Just kidding. But yeah, that's all the information currently available that I was able to find. I'm personally okay with the Resident Evil 4 remake. It's more Resident Evil and it's Leon. It's like, all right, cool. However, I would have preferred another game being remade, and my fingers are still desperately crossed for Resident Evil Outbreak. I mean, come on, like, please. And a quick shout out to Ben, one of my Patreon supporters, who messaged me first thing in the morning about this, and it was basically breaking news, so thank you for letting me know so early. I really appreciate it. Now, what do you guys think? Because I think this is going to be a very divisive bit of news, but are you excited about Resident Evil 4? Are you not? Do you think Resident Evil 4 doesn't need a remake? Do you think they should have remade something else? Let me know down in the comments so we can all share our thoughts together as Resident Evil fans. Or you can also join the Ink Ribbon Discord server. We've got a whole Resident Evil channel specifically for talking about Resident Evil, and it is blowing up right now. And you can also find me on Twitter at Ink Ribbon Games. I guess I'll let you guys know when there's more news, but until then, I'm Kai Morgan, and as always, thanks for watching Ink Ribbon. And a very special thank you to my bronze, silver, and gold Patreon supporters. Thanks to you, I can make videos without worrying about demonetization and grow my channel faster.